Hi folks, Canadian Prepper here. So guys, we're gonna take a break from all the doom and gloom today. We're gonna talk about what is on the war wall. This is basically my wall of fame. This is all of the items that I've used on a regular basis. I keep getting questions. What is this? What is that? Well, today we're gonna answer those questions. So let's get to it. All right guys, so I made a promise to the communist cameraman because he's got a lot of more important things to do apparently. I told him this is only gonna be a 10-minute video. He rolled his eyes, said it's probably gonna be an hour-long video. So I'm gonna do my best to provide you the most amount of information on each one of these particular items in the least amount of time possible. So let's just get right to it. So up top here, we have the Security Indestructible Umbrella. This thing is virtually indestructible and it also acts like a bit of a club. So it's a discreet self-defense tool that you're gonna be allowed to take into most places. Up next is one of my favorite pistol grip saws. This is the Silky Zubat pistol grip because it's very ergonomic, very easy to use. Your hands aren't going to get strained when using this. Would strongly recommend one of our most popular saws. That's the Zubat 390. We also have the Silky Nata, which is one of my most preferred choppers. This is a hatchet. I've had this one for probably going on 8 years now, and it's just a great tool for delimbing trees. And I like it as a hatchet because it has a long surface area. I like the fact that you don't have to be very precise with it. You can just hack away at those limbs in the zombie apocalypse without having to worry about being accurate at all. This next thing, I just put it on there to be quite honest because it looks cool. This was an all-American prepper moment. This is actually a Fox jungle machete, and Fox makes some really kick-ass machetes if you want to take a look at that. It's got a nice big belly on it. It just feels really good in the hand. I've never actually used it, but like I say, it looks kind of cool. And sometimes when you're making a war wall, it's got to look cool. This is a Linton, I think they call it the Triceratops knife. And I tell you, I don't know why I bought this. This was one of my first prepping knife purchases. And this was a total all-American prepper purchase because there really is no practical utility to this at all. It's a big badass blade. You know, definitely is going to be good if you had to get in a knife fight, I suppose. But above and beyond that, I'm not sure if it's gonna be of much practical use, but it's very sharp. And like I say, the cool factor is off the charts. Up next is one of the most popular items at the store, CanadianPreparedness.com, and that's the Apple 1S Survival Lilies knife. This is just a demo version, and it's a great all-around knife. She wanted to design a knife if you only needed one knife for the apocalypse. A stands for apocalypse. It's made of Oz 8. There's a reason why she chose Oz 8. It's because it's a stronger steel. So go and check out her many reviews on that knife. I think it's a great all-around knife and it's priced well as well. You're not gonna break the bank for it. We have a Cammenga compass, which is one of the best, most durable compasses that you can get for the money. It's probably one of the most popular compasses in the preparedness community just because of its durability, and they're also used commonly by operators and people in the military. So very nice compass, very durable, just really robust build to it. Then we have our Knipex bolt cutters. That's just for demo. That's actually the only pair I have. Normally, if I was gonna bug out or something, this is something I'd put in the bug out bag because for obvious reasons, if you have to get through a fence, a little tool like this could be indispensable, okay? So definitely wanna consider that. A lot of bolt cutters are much bigger. This is going to be just enough to get through a chain link fence. Up next, we have our coyote mitts. We actually finally have these back in stock. We've been building up inventory with Fernand the Fur Guy. So we finally have our coyote mitts back in stock. Every pair is handmade here in Saskatchewan. This is easily one of the warmest mitts that you're ever gonna use. If you're living in a cold environment like I am, something like this is indispensable. It's got a real sheepskin liner. It's got a buffalo hide on the palm and built to last. a lifetime. So go check those out. One of the best all-around bug out saws on the market that we just got back in stock is the Silky Outback edition. We have these in pocket size, Gone Boy size, which is this size, as well as a slightly bigger Big Boy 2000 size it's called. This is easily one of the best portable saws that money can buy. It's engineered for the outdoor bushman, survivalists. See, Silky is an arborist company, so often they're making saws that are for arborists. They're not focused on making a blade that's gonna last an exceptionally long time. They made an exception in this instance. This one is nickel plated. It has a slightly thicker blade and it goes through wood like butter. Now this thing here, this is one of the coolest gas cans I own, I must say. Not many people know about these gas canisters. You can get these. They're often a much thinner material. This is a very thick material, very similar to the military gas cans. They advertise this as being able to use as a traction board. So if you get stuck, you can put this under your tire and it's supposed to give you traction. Personally, I don't think I'd be doing that unless, of course, it was a last ditch thing. It has a locking mount on it, so you can mount this to the side of the vehicle. And yeah, it's just probably one of the coolest jerry cans I've used. Carrying it's very easy. It carries 5 gallons of gas. The only downside is that it was expensive. It was around 150 bucks. So it's not cheap, but I really like how it packs flat like that, because you can put it on the roof of your truck, you can put it on the side. You know, it can go into places where a big clunky old, you know, jerry can can't necessarily go. Then we have the Twinstrike. This is a dual shot crossbow. We did an in-depth review of this last year. You can go and check that out. This is a high power crossbow compared to the other novelty crossbows that we've demonstrated. This is actually hunting grade, so you get 2 shots just in case if you miss with the first one. We have the Survival Medicine Handbook that I don't think needs any more explanation at this point. One of the best, most comprehensive medical guides for preppers. Then we have what, in my opinion, is one of the best gas masks on the market, primarily because it has that full visor. It's a one size fits all. With the exception of small children, this will basically fit any adult. Then attached to that, we have the powered air purifying respirator. We just did a review on that. You can go and check that out. Then we have the cold steel. I believe this is called the Trench Hawk. This is one of my, definitely would be one of my favorite zombie weapons. And it's very cheap, relatively cheap. I think it's only like 60 bucks or something like that. And it's got this spike at the end. It's got a nice hatchet end there. So yeah, it's very cool. And this thing, it's a great throwing axe, but it's lightweight as well. And it just, it feels like it would be a very formidable weapon if you had to use it for that purpose. This is the cold steel Spetsnaz shovel. This is a good little investment. You can't go wrong with this. You can actually, this is a wooden shaft, so if you wanted to, you could take the short shaft off, put a longer shaft on. It's got relatively sharp edges. There's videos of people throwing this like a hatchet, using it as a weapon, using it as a shield. So very multi-purpose item that you can't go wrong with having. The weight of the shaft is pretty heavy, so maybe a little too much for a bug out bag, but certainly good for a truck or a quad or something like that. And of course, we have our stun baton, which we've demonstrated on the channel before. This is legal in Canada. It has to be over a certain length and within a certain power range. Also, one of my favorite items that we don't use often enough on the channel, in my personal opinion, and that is the flamethrower. I believe this is called the XM42, and we did an in-depth review of this thing. It's amazing. It's very easy to use, and it's a lot of fun. So go and check out the video we did on that. YouTube is certainly not showing it any love whatsoever. Then we got some throwing knives here. Haven't actually tested these out, but we're gonna actually be getting a range inside the studio here that we're gonna start testing stuff like this out. This item here needs no introduction. This is my 10-year-old Silky Katana Boy 650. Easily one of the best hand-powered saws in the market. If you're in a grid down or off-grid situation, You know, chainsaws, they're loud, they require gasoline, they're gonna attract a lot of attention, probably the wrong kind of attention. And so something like this, which is, in my opinion, virtually indestructible, because these Katana Boys, the bigger you go, the thicker the blade gets, okay? I've never broken a Katana Boy 650. I've heard about people breaking the smaller ones that have a thinner blade, but the Katana Boys are just a real badass saw. And they're a pull saw, Japanese saw, made in Japan, and they cut through wood like butter. This next item is something that we're gonna be reviewing in the future. By far, one of the most batshit crazy flashlights I've ever used and demonstrated on the channel before, so you're gonna wanna stay tuned for that. I've never seen a flashlight like this on YouTube. Most people don't know this light exists. It's certainly one of a kind. Up top, we have the Cold Steel Warrior Katana. We've showed that off in some videos before in our Fruit Ninja videos. Right here, we have the bug out roll, which of course right now has first aid equipment in it. So we're gonna do a more in-depth breakdown of the bug out roll for new viewers. But just to give you the gist of it, it's a system that allows you to visually identify all of your stuff in the field. You can hang this up on a tree, you can roll it on the ground. It's made of really heavy duty materials that are built to last. So we're using cold crack and heat resistant vinyl, really heavy duty zippers, 1000 Cordura fabric, and just really built tough. It comes in a variety of colors. So we got gray, we got black, we got yellow, we got a forest camo, we have a urban camo, we have olive, we have khaki, and we have about 5 or 6 other colors as well that you don't see here. So go and check that out, CanadianPreparedness.com. Baofeng radios are a great cost-effective solution if you're wanting a moderate range comms capability. Usually these go between 50 to 150 bucks depending on the model you get. In Canada, there's more bandwidth restrictions than there are in the United States. So these are tuned for the Canadian frequencies. Right here, of course, we have our newfound #1 prepper food, and that's the Peak Refuel. And right here we have the beef stroganoff, we got some home-style chicken, we got some beef pasta marinara behind that. We still got a little bit of Peak left. I just got word that they're gonna be raising their prices in a couple months. Not surprised at all by that. And we have our double-sided Wetterhall axe, which is still out of stock. Unfortunately, this is my favorite axe. It's just incredibly fun to use. It's actually a throwing axe, but I find it works very well for no matter what the task is, whether it's chopping or falling a tree. Here we have our Nitecore P22R. So this is just a really good all-around EDC flashlight. Built very tough. Nitecore makes exceptionally high quality products, so I'd encourage you to go check that out. Then we have our Stanley Fatmax Fubar, which is just a wrecking tool. Okay, if you ever need a decent breaching tool with a pry bar, a big ass hammer on the end, the Stanley Fubar is your best friend. Okay, so this is the Cold Steel Boar Spear. I've never speared a boar with it, but I think it'd be a formidable self-defense tool. You know, the great thing about spears is that you can put a lot of distance between you and the adversary, and you can kind of do a side to side with this because it is sharp on the sides. It's cold steel, so it's, you know, it's cheap. I think it was only like 35 bucks or something like that. It's the only spear I got, so hey, I actually think the Kydex sheath is probably worth more than the steel that it's made out of. But hey, looks kind of cool, so why not? Okay, so up next is the Kelly Kettle, the fastest way to boil water. The only downside is it's big, it's clunky, makes a bit of noise because of the chain. But if you're in a larger group, or you're in a kayak, or you got a quad, or you have some way to transport larger gear, you can't go wrong with the Kelly Kettle because there's just simply no more efficient way to boil water, in my personal opinion. And it's built really tough. It's a real simple one-piece metal design. Then we have our Paracord Dispenser from Atwood. We talked about that recently in a video. We also have our Siege 300 crossbow, which we've yet to go out to the field and test out. We have demonstrated it in studio here. We also have our Apollo compound bow. This is the only compound bow I have. The company sent me this bow probably 5 or 6 years ago. I did a review on it. In my opinion, it's a perfectly functional bow. I don't think there's anything really too notable about it, to be brutally honest, but it's just a general, good, cost-effective, all-around compound bow. We also have our premier body armor. We're going to be interviewing Runkle of the Bailey, who is a Canadian firearms lawyer. I don't know if that's the title he goes by, but he knows a lot about that kind of stuff. So he's going to talk all about the legalities of things like body armor, self-defense with various weaponry and things of that nature. So I look forward to that. Now there's one that I haven't really shown you, and this is the Katanaboy 1000. This is actually, all the Katanaboy 1000s say demo saw on them because they're still in like a production phase, I guess you could say. But this is brand new. This isn't the one that I've used or demonstrated on the channel. I've shown it off before, and you could just see how thick this steel is. This thing is an absolute monster. I would say you could cut a tree up to about 24 inches in diameter with relative ease. Now, when I say relative ease, it's probably gonna still take you 5 minutes or so to cut, but I mean, you can't beat that. The only problem with a saw this big is that you're not going to be doing a lot of little stuff because this thing is going to pull the whole tree. This is ideally suited to when you have a fallen tree with a relatively large girth, maybe 12 to 30 inches, and it's heavy enough that you can't pull it, because that's the one downside with a pull saw, is that you are going to be moving that tree unless it's braced somehow. Cuts through wood like butter. I mean, look at the size of these teeth. They're like Tyrannosaurus claws or something. You know, I'd say they're probably about 1/2 inch and razor sharp. The thing with silky saws is you can run your hands this way because they only cut on the pull movement. If I was to run my hands this way, I would be in the hospital for the next day or so. So I'm not gonna do that today, but this is an absolute monstrosity of a saw. As long as you take care of it, you shouldn't have to worry about corrosion at all. We've done comparisons between Silky and some competitors. The competitors get fully rusted out. Silky will get a little bit of surface rust over time, but nothing that's gonna compromise its functionality. All right, guys, so that was my in-depth breakdown of what we have on the war wall. Let me know if you've used any of these items before. What has your experience been with them? This is subject to change over time. You know, we're gonna take things off, we're gonna add new things. If you want any of these items, I'm gonna post links in the description, and you can use coupon code PREPPINGGEAR for 10% off anything at CanadianPreparedness.com. Also, for the body armor, you know you can get 10% off the body armor using coupon code PREPPER. Let me know what you think, guys. Thanks for watching. Take care. Canadian Prepper out.
The best way to support this channel is to support yourself by gearing up at CanadianPreparedness.com, where you'll find high-quality survival gear at the best prices, no junk, and no gimmicks. Use discount code PREPPINGGEAR for 10% off. Don't forget, the strong survive, but the prepared thrive. Stay safe.